Did the FBI pick up the right people for FBG duck case? You know, they arrested 6 people. Is those the right 6 people? Is those the people that really put the hit out on FBG duck? Did the feds get it wrong? Is somebody locked up mistakenly? When y'all heard all that, blah, 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 blah. Did you pick the right 5 people to say that was involved in that? Blah, 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 blah. Somebody told me that it might be one person on the Oblock case that really ain't involved in that shit. We gonna talk about that. Hit the like button. This video finna get deep because we talked about what's in the paperwork. The feds released that paperwork. Sun-Times released paperwork. Now we gonna talk about the rumors in the streets. I be in Chicago. I talk to a lot of these people. So I'm finna give you what the streets is talking about. Make sure you hit the like button. This is very important because this is one of those videos that I think a lot of people need to see. So many fake videos about duck case. I've been documenting this shit every day for about 10 days, giving you the real, breaking the paperwork down the real way instead of giving you my opinion on the paperwork. So hit the like button. This video need at least 3,000 likes because there's somebody on the Oblock case that they saying ain't involved. So we got to talk about this. But hit the like button to help with the algorithms. Los. You know, Los. A lot of people didn't really know who that was. We know about all the other Oblock members. Kenny Mack is a little different because he's from Dipset, but the rest of the Oblock members, we know about them. Los kind of came out the blue. Even though he been there for a while, got Oblock tattoos on him, we didn't really see him or know about him until this case really dropped. According to the paperwork, Muwap ran upstairs when he got a phone call or something. He came back downstairs and ran into a car. Then C-Thing, C-Murder, and Kenny Mack ran to another car. The paperwork didn't name Los as one of the people that was standing in that hallway. It named everybody else's name but Los' name, okay? Which is very strong. Then another thing is when Duck was killed, the camera surveillance footage shows all the people hopping out the cars except Kenny Mack, okay? It shows people. It clearly names C-Murder and C-Thing as like shooting at Duck and C-Thing standing over Duck, C-Murder shooting at Duck girlfriend and shit like that and shooting at him. That's what the paperwork says, okay? It says they got out the car, Duck fell down on the ground, the motherfucker stood over Duck like this and black, 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 while he on the ground, and that C-Murder ran around chasing this girl and hit his girl a couple of times to the point where Duck girl had to get the gun in, pop, 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 5 back, okay? Deep, okay? It didn't name Los though. It said the other car, it said, first off, it says Muwap and another person exited the vehicle, which was Los' car. But it didn't say Los, it said Muwap and another person. Then it said C-Thing and C-Murder. Then it says Kenny Mack stayed in the car. It didn't name Los, even though it named his car, I believe the Ford Fusion, it named his car, but it didn't name Los, okay? That's another thing. The surveillance footages didn't pick up Los' face, but it did pick up his car, okay? I've been talking to people in the streets that told me Los wasn't there when Duck got killed. Now, this all allegedly. Remember, I'm just giving you the rumors in the streets. But I actually reported the story about maybe 6 months ago, if you go to my YouTube channel. People were telling me Los wasn't involved in this. A lot of people told me none of those guys were involved in this, and the feds just locked them up because of this rap beef, and, you know, it linked it to them. People just named them. And some people told me, yeah, them niggas did that shit. Them niggas did that shit. They was on Duck ass. I got to be honest with you. You know, I'm not here to stamp anything. I'm just here to give you the news that's covered up. But I was told that Los wasn't involved in this, and just his car was used in this killing, allegedly. You know, if it was those guys that, you know, it was just his car, that Los wasn't actually involved in the shooting shit. That's the reason why he was salty and tried to return his car, because he was salty that a motherfucker made a move like that inside of his car to the point where he had to take his car back to the dealership. He didn't even want it anymore. That's strong. Now, do I believe that? I don't know. Remember, I wasn't there. I'm not here to tell you if the news is real or true, but I have been told for a while that Los is not involved in that case, and that he's going to tell the feds that he ain't involved. He don't know what y'all talking about. And I think the rest of those guys are going to play that. But like I say, in this case with so much evidence and the feds and so many witnesses, people, baby mamas, girlfriends, the security guys and Oblock testifying, it's so many people involved in this case that I think it's going to be hard to get on that stand and say, what y'all talking about? I wasn't even there. I don't even know what y'all talking about. They came, arrested me. I don't know nothing. I'm telling you, the whodunit, the dun-dun, that ain't finna get you off this. You're gonna fuck around and get 50 years trying to play with that type of vibe, in my opinion. You're gonna have to come with more facts than what the feds got. Them surveillance footages and them informants, like it's somebody deep inside this case that's giving out real information to the point where they telling what happened inside of the car on the ride there. You know, so I mean, this is strong information. But I was told by close people that the feds got the wrong people in this, that maybe they got everybody else right, but Los wasn't involved in this, you know. You don't got a clear-cut picture of Los anywhere involved in this. Most they got is that somebody placed him at the crime scene and that his car is used, you know. They used his vehicle, what the feds is alleging. So, you know, his license got picked up by POD scanners and POD license plate readers, which is like shit that the police use. The feds are able to get all their information. Hell, they can be a fucking camera in somebody's backyard and they'll go back there and get that footage. So that's all the information that I got today. It's more news breaking out, but when you look at the paperwork, it clearly says Muwab got in a car and those other guys got in another car. They said Muwab was in a car with Los. But when it got to the crime scene, it says 2 people exited the car, Muwab and another person. It didn't name Los' name. Okay, and as crazy as that sound, and I'm not saying they don't got no information, you know, because I'm pretty sure the feds didn't put everything on the table. They let us all know what they're gonna be using. Like that paperwork is what they're gonna put on the table to prove that these guys did that. But it's a lot of hearsay in this case, a lot of hearsay, putting Vaughn in the case, all kind of shit in the case. Academics broke this down yesterday. Academics ain't in Chicago though, so that's one thing I can say, man. If you're not out here in Chicago, know a lot of the groundwork and the background work, it's kind of hard to predict what's gonna happen on this case. But I'm not gonna lie, the feds got so much information that it feels like, you know, those guys threw their life away. And it feels like it's gonna be hard for them to come home from this, especially if they all tried together. If they all tried together, then that's gonna be hard to beat. Maybe if it's tried one-on-one, then maybe some of these guys got a chance to beat this case. Because there's some guys who you clearly don't see in the evidence. It's just, you know, it's them because their name was dropped and shit like that. And then you see the surveillance footage of them running like, you know, to these cars and the cars seeing it. So the feds got all that shit. But one thing is I didn't see was real strong evidence against Los, you know, besides hearsay, you know. As crazy as that shit sounds. And another thing is when Teezy walked in Milano's, it was somebody else with Teezy. Teezy had somebody else with him. And I think the feds made that person cooperate. I could be wrong. But Teezy walked in the store with another person. And them people out there seen Duck and noticed Duck. Duck got an altercation with Teezy inside that store, in case people don't understand that. Duck did get an altercation with him. And Duck wasn't scared. After Duck got an altercation with that nigga, he didn't get in his car right off. Duck went right to the store that's 5 blocks, 5 houses down. You know, 5 stores down. Duck went to that store. So that shit crazy. And the security guard said that Teezy ran into Montclair acting real wild and crazy on the phone. That's the reason why he recorded him. I think he had this adrenaline rushing because Duck might have checked him, like by that store. Him and Duck had an argument or something like that. But that's another story. We're gonna get into this. But I wanted to tell you, man, that according to rumors on the street, Los had nothing to do with FBG Duck murder. Now I can't stamp that, you know, because the evidence puts him there. But people on the street say Los ain't had nothing to do with this. It was just his vehicle used, allegedly. But like I said, I also have people that said that those guys did do that, you know. So I'm not here to say who didn't do anything, who did do anything. I'm here to just give you the information. A rumor on the street is that Los is being wrongly charged for this murder. How y'all feel about that? Leave a comment. It's the homie True Teller Street Reporter. Blah, blah, blah.